All right. Hey, hey. Welcome back. All right. So, Aries, let's go ahead and jump on into this, shall we? Let's see what we've got. This is a touch base on the topic of love. We have a Four of Swords. Someone could be traveling, they could be exhausted. Four of Swords is kind of feeling low, though. This is somebody who's trying to heal from something, and it feels a little bit like, um, I don't know if there's an argument or something, and two people part ways, and it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna leave. But then, kind of sitting here waiting, we definitely could have an argument or some problem here. We got the Devil, and we got the Knight of Wands. It's weird because we have passion, desire, hard partying, um, and like, I don't know, is somebody living a bit of a life of excess and it's getting old? I don't know if this is Aries who's been living a life of excess or someone Aries has been dealing with, and Aries was getting sucked into that pattern with them. And it's like, okay, wait a second. This is starting to look really toxic. I mean, it's fine to go out and have a good time here and there, but I don't really want this to be our life every weekend. I feel like this is somebody who runs amok. They go out, they drink a little too much, they somehow lose a shirt, they wind up, like living kind of large, getting a lot of attention. I feel like this is, I'll give a scenario. Aries meets somebody and they're very charismatic and they're really fun and they want Aries to come out with them. And there's passion and there's intimacy and that's really wild and fun too. But then Aries starts to see this pattern where it's like, okay, but every time we go out, it's always life in the extremes. We go out, you want me with you, we go to a bar, we go to a club, but then pretty soon you're loud, you're drunk, you're this, you're that, we're stumbling on back home. Again, wild passion, but now I'm starting to wonder, does it matter who you're having this wild passion with? Because you're pretty checked out. It really is the pursuit of the intense situation or the intensity of the emotions or the intensity of the situation itself that it seems like they're seeking. And I think it's wearing Aries out. I think Aries is like, oh man, I think that this person might be living kind of a wild life. Maybe they're running from hurt and pain. Maybe these are coping strategies. I don't think I can keep up with this, and I don't even think I want to. I'm thinking that this is where I say, no, I think I'm going to go home and stay at my house tonight. That's the vibe I'm getting off of this. Hey, San Juanita, great to see you. This just feels like, okay, we got this blank card. You know what's wild? It could even be that Aries was down for that at first. It was fun, it was exciting, but maybe Aries was, using a similar coping mechanism, or they were, living a little bit, having a little too much fun sometimes. And it's to mask other things going on. And now Aries is like, oh, wow, I see them doing that though. And it totally, like, I'm not judging them for it. I'm just saying, I know I was doing the same thing, but watching them maybe run a little bit more amok is why I don't want to be that person. Sometimes if we're doing something, but then we see somebody else do exactly what we're doing, it's like we get to watch ourselves and it's like, oh, from an outsider's viewpoint, that doesn't look good. Or let's say they're doing kind of a similar thing to what we were doing, but they're amplifying it and it's way more. The way they're doing stuff is way, way more. Right, I have plant matter in my hair. I was gardening earlier. Um, it just feels like this is not going to work. Yeah. Five of Pentacles. I feel like Aries is saying, I don't want to be their DD, their constant designated driver. I want to be their like romantic partner who, like, it's okay. We all take care of our partners once in a while if they, get a little drunky monkey. But I feel like this is Aries saying, yeah, but that's not what my role is going to be in the relationship. I now am the uber responsible one because they run amok all the time. I mean, literally, I'm sorry, we cannot veer away from this story because it looks, even here, she's like unable to stand up on her own motor skills right now. I kind of think this is going to get old. The party lifestyle is getting old. The partier is getting old. And maybe that's the other thing. This person, frankly, I know they're wearing sunglasses so we can't really see their face, but what we can see of it, they don't look like a really young, 20-year-old who's, tasting crazy freedom for the first time in their life and they're going a little excessive. This honestly looks like face is quite a few wrinkles on it, and they're like wearing big sunglasses to hide their age, and they're still doing the stuff that they did when they were 20. But it's not so cute when you're 45, 55. It's like, hang on, you should have grown beyond that party lifestyle. Now, instead of it just being like, oh, you know, whatever, you're a young buck, you've got to sow your wild oats, you know, you're being kind of foolish, you're being kind of excessive and kind of loud, but that's okay. We all do that, you know, in our youth. But then we mature beyond it, or we try to cling to our glory days, or we use it as a coping strategy or a mechanism to run from other like adult responsibilities or pain that we haven't been able to overcome. And I don't know, I think Aries is like trying to figure out which of those storylines it is, but it's fatiguing them. And there's some kind of like, I get it, this person, I understand them to a certain extent because I've done similar things, but this is not making me feel like a valued partner. I'm starting to feel like I'm just their designated driver. Okay, gotta say, I mean, I know this one's hitting kind of hard, but 8 of Cups says this is why Aries is walking away. Hey, Witness 222. We got the 9 of Pentacles. We got the Sun. We got the 5 of Swords. Look, if Aries chooses to say, okay, I'm going to make sure you get home safe, but after that, I'm probably not going to answer my phone anymore when you call me to try to get me to come out with you. This is the last time that I do this. I think this is where we part ways. This is less of a relationship and more of like, you know, I'm starting to feel like I got to be your sponsor or something. And and I really think that this was a big turning point for Aries. I think Aries like really starts to focus on, you know, like sometimes somebody who's running amok, they're a great example to us of how we want to tidy up anything in our own backyard. And I really feel like this is Aries like, oh my gosh, let me totally invest in like healthy eating, clean living, you know, being more successful, you know, choosing positive outcomes in my life, choosing positive activities, because I don't want that taste of that life that I just had. I don't want to just party. I want to grow. Now, the thing is, I don't know if this person's going to be banging on Aries' door at some point and being like, hey, how come you're not answering my calls? But I think Aries is just going to have that coming to Jesus talk with them. Like, listen, your way of life is not the way I'm choosing to live. Like, I want to be in 9 of Pentacles. I want to be healed and abundant. I want to be in the Sun. I want to be, you know, confident and powerful and feeling happy, authentically happy, not synthetically looking for the high, the excessive, like everybody look at me, look at me. Look, I don't think Aries is judging this person saying, wow, they're a bad person. I think Aries is just saying, they're a little bit lost and they're going to choose to stay lost. And I could become their, you know, the person that just follows them around and tries to keep them out of trouble or lugs them home when they're too drunk to stand. But I can't do that. I don't want to be on the destructive path myself. So I do feel like there's probably going to be a confrontation. This person might be even mad, like, how come you're not hanging out with me anymore? Or how come you're not dating me anymore? With the 7 of Pentacles, I think Aries is going to be really calm. And I think that they're going to be, if there's going to be a confrontation at some point, it's probably going to be Aries being very calm and saying like, sit down. Here's the thing. You know, this is what I did in the last 7 days that I haven't talked to you. This is what I've been developing in my life in the last 7 days. This is what I want to give my energy to. I'm building this. I'm growing this. I'm investing my energy here. I did some yoga. I did some meditation. I planted a garden. I, you know, took a cooking class. I did these different things. Are you doing any of those actions? Do you want to do any of those actions with me? It seems like if Aries has to display like, listen, we're on 2 completely different trajectories. You're still tangled up in the party aspect, and I'm actually wanting to do things like this. I want to be awake in the daylight hours to do things that I enjoy doing. Whereas if I'm out with you all night, I'm too fatigued to do any of the things that I like to do. Any of the things that I think are like healthy and impact my overall growth. 7 of Cups. I think this is going to be a lot of food for thought for this person to have to like, oh, wow, maybe Aries is making a really good point. This seems to be like maybe they haven't considered that there was anything wrong with their actions or behaviors. Maybe they had never considered, you mean, wait a second, I don't need to stay out all night and party and then be asleep all day. or that's what I do every weekend. You mean, I could do things different? You mean there's fun stuff to do in the daytime, in the daylight? I don't know. This just feels like they're realizing that there's another way. Nine of Wands. Look, Aries, straightforward conversation with this person could be enough that it really speaks to them and it gets them thinking and kind of scratching their head and saying, am I doing stuff that's just to mask the fact that I have some pain that I haven't healed from? Maybe should I work on that instead of working on masking it? This is great. It's definitely getting them thinking. And I think it's because Aries is just so like compassionate and calm in the way they are, not confronting this person. In fact, I think this person was coming to confront them, but I think Aries just spoke like a gentle truth to them. This is a moment where they get to decide, what do they do? If they want to be with Aries, they're going to have to change some of their ways. It can't be the parties all the time. It has to be that they've got to do the work on whatever healing they have to do. Do they want to do this? Or are they in a place where they would choose to do that? This is about them realizing that they're actually quite empowered all of a sudden. Aries simply saying, I've been choosing to do these other things for me. I've been choosing healthier pathways for me. And it's making me feel more, comforted in my life. And I'm seeing progress in my life. And that's what I want to do. Do you want to do that kind of a life with me? I didn't think that you did. But if you want to, well, join me for sure. But this is very much like Aries saying, I'm not stepping into your toxic world. You'd have to step into mine. And together we have to strive for healthier outcomes. And they're actually empowered going, you mean I get to actually pick? I could do things different. I could heal from something instead of mask it. What do I really want to manifest? Maybe this is the first time somebody handed the power to them like that and said it in plain, blunt English. Like, well, if you like partying all the time, you can do that, but I don't want to do it. So I'm not going to be able to be with you if that's what you're going to do, but you can choose whatever you want. Maybe this is the first time it's clicked for them. I get to choose. I'm not forced into this party lifestyle, toxicity, masking pain. You mean it would be all right if I chose something else? The Sun card says this really feels like they're thinking all of a sudden it would be really nice to be as progressive, maybe I'll say, as Aries is, to try to heal instead, to try to be out in the sunlight instead, to not have to hide trauma and pain, but to actually be able to, like, I always picture it this way, like, how if you ever had a camping tent that's got some mildew in it, you put it away when it was a little bit damp. And if you lay something out in the sun, the sunlight will kill the mildew. And I feel like that's the best way to handle this kind of whatever trauma it is, or pain that they've carried around. They would get through it better and faster by bringing it into the light, instead of them running into the darkness all the time to like party and forget whatever it was that they were upset over. And it just feels like Aries is giving them the permission to say, it's okay. You're allowed to have wounds, and you're also allowed to like actively work on them. Like, here's how I work on mine. I do this meditation. I do, I sit out and I buy another house plant. Whatever this is, however Aries does this, but they find a constructive way. And I think this is the first time it's ever been okay. Someone's made them feel that it's okay that they have a wound, and it's okay to bring it into the light and to actively work through it instead of try to press it down, pretend it's not there, go out drinking, go out and, get wild and try to just forget. That's such a gift. Oh my God. Aries is like a freaking angel for this person. They just gave this person the permission to be actively working on healing something in themselves. In this storyline, this says they're never leaving Aries' side. This could be a massive turning point. And it's not because Aries threatened them, and it's not because Aries told them that they're doing it wrong. And it's not because Aries, Aries didn't do any of that. They actually really understood where this person was at and gave them the respect to say, this is how I have to do things. And so I don't think I can be with you because you're choosing to do things in a different way. And I get it. You have to choose what you want. But that's them saying, but I want to choose the way you're doing it. This is the 10 of Pentacles. This is the Ace of Wands. I feel like this person is leaving behind a really toxic and exhausting lifestyle. I don't even think they wanted to be in that lifestyle anymore, but they didn't know that they had a choice. They didn't know if there was another way until they not only met Aries, but they realized Aries is like really accepted them. Aries knows that they're running from pain, or that they've, they had stuff they hadn't healed from, that they hadn't done the work on yet, but that's okay. The Aries accepted all of that in them and gives them an opportunity to choose to openly work on their stuff and be with Aries at the same time. I mean, this is a win-win-win for them. I think this person is choosing a really beautiful path. I definitely feel like there's this great song by Talk, Tawk is the way that he spells his name, or the band's name. I've never known. I don't know that they ever put out any like tangible albums, but you can find Tawk, the band or the man, on YouTube, and I think also probably on some like Spotify or something. But there's a song called "Save Me," and it's just very much like this mantra, again and again. But it's really nice, and I feel like that is exactly what Aries has done for this person. They didn't set out to. They didn't be, oh, I must save you. It's not that. It's just sometimes loving somebody, accepting them where they are, compassionately understanding what's going on, not forcing them onto any path, not shaming them, not dangling carrots, none of it. I think Aries was just really super calm and straightforward, and they just let this person be who they were going to be, but also explained gently, what path they're choosing for themselves. And that is where it's like, so wait a second, I could just go with you and be with you, and we could do it different. Yeah, I think that sounds great. I mean, this is such a turning point for this person. I do think Aries has saved this individual, or will save this individual, simply because of the way they've approached all of this. Talk about like the most loving, most compassionate, most understanding storyline that we've seen for a complex situation. It was really nice. Guys, so good to see everybody. Carrie B for me. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Courtney Welsh, wonderful to see you. Sweet Carolina. Hey, darling. Caitlin V, shout out to you, my dear. And Empress Unicorn 111. Hi, thank you so much for stopping by. You guys are amazing. Thank you for hanging with me on this Saturday night. All right, I am going to go ahead and bounce on out of here. I think we are still probably going to do maybe one or two other zodiacs still tonight, but lots of love. I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Bye.